how sort of meaningful is it? You know, when a new figure comes into a faith in this kind of way, and, you know, you're a man who studies many faiths, obviously, you know, how sort of important is Pope Francis going to be to boy numbers eventually?
Well, the question is, you know, how long will it take people to actually say, oh, you know what, I'm going to become a Catholic because of Pope Francis? I don't think people do that like that. So there's other ways we can look at his effect, what he's done that has been important, and especially looking at young people, because one of the primary ways we can see it is through social media. He's a monster on social media, not because he's actually doing anything particularly amazing, it's just that he resonates on social media in such an incredible way. He's the most talked about person on Facebook, he's the most retweeted on Twitter, and he's the most talked about person on the internet at all, of any person in 2013. This means that young people who are really the drivers of social media, I mean, we all have, you know, people my age who are like putting up posts, you know, but really it's, you know, it is an indicator of like a new way of communicating about what people feel is important. This is a pope who has resonated in that way, and I think what's been astonishing to me is, you know, we do a lot on Pope Francis. My joke is there's the religion news and then there's Pope Francis, and it's like, you know, but you know, all the time we get all these people who are just saying this pope is dope, you know, and they're not even Catholics. So the question is, you know, is twofold: how are Catholics reacting, but then how are young people actually seeing a new religious leader on the scene who they're impressed with, who they want to identify with? And in some ways, the word Catholic also, you know, also ultimately means universal. How is he becoming a religious leader for those who are even not Catholic, but who really identify in a way that the Dalai Lama was in some ways in the last decade?
And that's a really good point. Jonathan, I want to come to you because, you know, you're sort of on the front lines, as it were. In terms of, you know, what you've experienced when you've gone out into your diocese and kind of spoken to younger Catholics, what's their perception of this Pope, particularly, and let's not forget, a Jesuit Pope?
Absolutely. And Paul nailed it with the word resonance. I just think Pope Francis is really speaking the language of young people. Certainly his presence on social media, but his humility, his joy, which was his most recent writing, The Joy of the Gospel. There's just something that's tangible and that's something attractive. He speaks the language of young people and arouses that curiosity. Whether, like you said, Paul, whether people are Catholic or not, the word Catholic means universal, and he is speaking to a universal audience from the platform of the world. And to speak back to young people, the desire and the need to create meaning in life has never changed. And I think we're seeing Pope Francis speaking into meaning making. And I hope we can continue to resonate that on the local level.